So brutal.
Oh,
Dear
just
God.
awful.
So I'm going to make some assumptions here.
Yeah, you gotta...
because in Edmonton, if you're familiar with how Rexall Place is set up,
Yep.
they actually have to walk through the concourse
Yep.
to get to the locker room. So I'm assuming that's what's happening right there.
That's exactly right.
Now whose decision was it to build that there? Because that is not a good idea.
Well, it happened when back when Ty Conklin was taking him to the Stanley Cup Finals. Is whose decision it was. But
so you're blaming that on Ty Conklin?
This is all Ty Conklin's fault.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, so this is the point of escalation. Right now, this is about a year and a half after the first jersey was thrown in Edmonton on the ice, which is kind of the precedent for everything that's happening in Toronto right now. So if in a year and a half that's where things have gone in Edmonton, where's it going to go in Toronto between now and the time that Randy Carlisle is actually fired? And I guess the question I'm asking is, does Dan Bylsma float or does he sink?
Does anybody float
I don't know if anybody
in Toronto?
I think that was kind of a Monty Python reference because, I mean, he's eventually going to be burned at the stake and they're going to try him as a witch. And that's Dan Bylsma, Godspeed if you take either one of those jobs, which he's rumored for both of them. Although
he was also rumored
San Jose.
Yeah.
Who's apparently talked to him.
Might not be too bad.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the thing in San Jose, though. What is the problem with the San Jose Sharks? What does their fan base despise about their team?
Playoff exits.
They choke in the playoffs. They can't get it done. They have awesome regular season, and they get to the postseason, and
this sounds familiar.
What is Dan Bylsma's career? That's like,
it's kind of like taking two negative numbers
in a way.
It's like taking two negative numbers and putting them together. You get like a positive or something like that. I forget.
I don't know if that works that way, but
I don't know.
Like if they can somehow, well, Michel Therrien's not going anywhere too quickly, even though everyone in Montreal hates him. So,
why?
I mean, why? Yeah, let's see.
Because he's a giant douche.
We're talking about the Penguins are 14-4-2. Montreal is 16-6-1 with 33 points, sitting on top of the Eastern Conference, and their coach might very well be on the hot seat because Canadiens fans are effing insane. But if somehow we could get Therrien to be fired, and then go coach in San Jose for 3 months, and then get fired, and then bring Dan Bylsma in, then maybe the Sharks have its chance at the Stanley Cup. That's about the only. That's the winning recipe I have for that organization.
If it all hits the fan in Montreal, that's really all that Canada has left to hang on to is Montreal.
That's not true. Look at Canada this year.
Vancouver's okay.
All other
teams doing pretty well.
Yeah, all their teams are in. Because Toronto's in now. Ottawa's bubble. They're 2 points out in the East, but everyone's doing pretty well. They're either in the playoffs or just on the outside of that bubble,
or
except
Edmonton,
for
or Winnipeg.
God, I guess Winnipeg is just sitting on the outside of that. Although by the time we're done recording this, that might not actually be true anymore. In fact, it is no longer true because they beat Columbus. So now they're in the playoffs.
Oh. Playoffs.
Yeah. I really want to be able to translate and make out some more of the individual comments that are being made in that Walk of Shame video that you just played.
Yeah.
Because it sounded
kind of
angry,
bad,
mobbish, but also personal.
I was waiting for Neil Yakupov to hit somebody with a stick. He didn't look too happy, and he's a wild kid.
Yeah, but he's also lazy.
Yeah,
the wild kid.
But yeah, that was a crazy video. I mean, yeah, absolutely. If you haven't checked that out, Just search Edmonton Oilers Walk of Shame on the YouTube, and you'll see what we're talking about. Or you go to the hot take from Tuesday on the PensNation.com, and we talk about the Edmonton Spoilers a lot.
Wait, that doesn't really make sense, though, because that implies that
they're dead.
Well, but they are.
They spoil life for everybody in Canada.
That they're spoiling people's playoff ambitions, which is not what they're doing.
But they're spoiling everybody in Edmonton's fun also.
Yes, they are.
Hey, this is another live reaction. I'm pulling up your hot take Tuesday.
Oh, yes.
Right now. So I'm gonna read here for a second. So go ahead. I'll let you finish.
I love it. But yeah, Edmonton, terrible. Toronto, terrible. Canada, I mean, Vancouver's done pretty well for themselves. They've been better than they were last year. Willie Desjardins doing a fine job there. Calgary, I think, is still just way overachieving still.
Yeah.
I don't think Derek Englund made that much of a difference, but maybe.
He's the key.
Well, here's the thing about, Calgary, you have to give them credit because even last year where they had a little bit less talent than what they have right now, and their younger guys didn't have any experience, and Johnny Hockey wasn't going off the rails the way he is right now. But Calgary's always been a tough team to play, even if they were losing. Edmonton has never been a tough team to play. They roll over, and so yeah, that's the thing with them. The thing with Canada is, despite the fact that you have some franchises that are having a good deal of success right now in terms of the playoff picture, which of these teams has a legitimate chance to win the Stanley Cup this year? And then, more than that, which team has a legitimate chance to win a Stanley Cup in the near future? Really, Montreal is kind of getting to the point where it's this year, or there's going to be a little bit of a rebuild, after that. This is kind of the last year where I think we might see them at the top going on like that. Toronto is a bubble team right now. They're a good team. They're fine. They're serviceable. But are they challenging for anything? Are they going to in the next 5 years? No. The more success they have, the more it prolongs the inevitable explosion that it has to happen there in order for them to see some future success. And I think that's what would be frustrating if I were a fan in Canada. But hell, they're going to keep buying tickets, so who cares?
I can't believe, just looking at the way things have been playing out lately, just across the NHL, how similar things are in Tampa Bay as they are in Pittsburgh. Pair of bad losses to the Islanders. They also lost to Toronto. And then they end up winning a tight game against Minnesota. That script seems pretty crazy to me right now.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Tampa Bay is another team that a lot of people, have kind of high expectations for, which the Penguins obviously have that too. And they have elite players, Stamkos. They got Ryan Callahan, Ben Bishop's a pretty good goalie. So they are. I guess they are pretty similar teams in that regard.
I wonder if people talk about you can get a better value for Ben Bishop. Maybe you can get a goalie half his price and still, I don't know.
But Ben Bishop is playing out of his mind too.
So is Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah, but it's not as though Ben Bishop is riding on a good team. Ben Bishop is winning that team a lot of these games. If it's not for Ben Bishop, then you might be looking at a 30-point team that they are right now with Bishop. Might be sitting at around 24-25. Looking at a wild card spot if it's not for Bishop.
Yeah, valid.
Yeah.
Bishop's, like you said, playing out of his mind right now. So definitely keeping those guys afloat.
Yeah, that trade for him's looking really good right now. They give up Corey Conacher, and he's not even there anymore. He's been scratched by the Islanders, and that trade's looking really good for Tampa Bay right now.
Sometimes you win them, sometimes you lose them. That's the nature of the beast. So, and maybe the Pens will be making one of those here soon. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
It could be. I mean, it's tough right now because, Penguins don't really have any leverage right now because everybody knows they are coming in before we even drop the puck. People kind of knew, hey, there's probably there's a hole in the top six, but now with Pascal Dupuis out, that it makes things even worse. Now there's two holes, and I don't know. I don't know if there's David Perron is obviously out there. That's a guy they could look at, but they've said they want a top center, and I don't really want to get rid of Brandon Sutter right now. So
No.
I don't know if that's a good match at all. So it's tough. I mean, yeah, you'd love to get somebody now, but I don't know if it's a need right now. I think that they'll be able to kind of survive a little bit. Not that Blake Como, Nick Spaulding aren't top six guys by any means, but I think they can survive a little bit. They're going to have to make a move eventually, but I'm not suggesting that they need to necessarily make that move tomorrow or anything like that.
Yeah, what's the rush? I mean, and that's I also wouldn't suggest waiting all the way up until the trade deadline to start thinking about making moves, because I would like to see this team have a little bit more time to gel and develop than maybe some of our Franken teams over the last couple of years have had. But yeah, I mean, what's the rush? I mean, right now, the Penguins look very much on track to finish in first or second place in the division, depending on how this team achieves and also how the New York Islanders do throughout the rest of this year. But, what's the harm in even finishing second in the Metro? If you can keep things going throughout this year, kind of raise what your salary cap number is going to be in that eventual prorated idea that you have, since you're prorating Pascal Dupuis' salary on that salary cap and with that hit, and also finding out. I mean, the Penguins are very much discovering what their identity is right now. Does Christian Ehrhoff fit? Is there going to be a future here for Paul Martin? All things that we're going to be discovering over the next several months. And while that's happening on Pittsburgh, the same thing is happening in 29 other NHL cities. And as those wheels start to turn, then asking prices can come down or they can go up depending on what you're looking at. But there's absolutely no need to rush and make a decision unless there's a deal on the table that is just something you can't pass up. So, and if that's not there, then don't pull the trigger. Just wait it out. Do your thing. And I think General Manager Jim Rutherford. I'm too used to the 3-syllable general manager. Ray Shero is so much easier to say. Rutherford is a mouthful.
Yeah.
Come on. And just think about how long it took Pittsburghers to be able to say Dan Bylsma the correct way. Bylsma, Bylsma, Blisma, Bursma, Car. But anyway, I think Jim Rutherford under F me.
No thanks.
You get where I'm going, though.
Yeah. You're basically saying be patient. There's no need to rush anything right now. Slow down, pump the brakes on this relationship, Jim Rutherford. That's what you're saying.
I don't think Jim Rutherford is... I can't say his name. I'll be right back.
While Ken's out, we've got this whole top 10 power rankings